The latest battle in this language war, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin reignited this conflict. DMK Chief Minister told the Prime Minister Hindi should not be imposed over Tamil and that all languages need to be treated equally. In response, Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the Tamil culture. He lauded and appreciated the language and said his government is doing everything. It's committed to developing Tamil language and culture. BJP called Stalin's conduct as appalling. Our Tamil Nadu Bureau gets us more.
Thousands gathered at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Chennai on Thursday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was all set to unveil 11 projects worth over 31,000 crores. Amid the applause and chants, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin reignited the language debate.
As the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu,
without mincing any words, DMK Chief Stalin spoke against any imposition of Hindi.
பழமைக்கும் பழமையாய் புதுமைக்கும் புதுமையாய் உலக செம்மொழிகளில் இன்றளவும் சீரழமை தரத்தோடு உயிர்ப்போடு விளங்கக்கூடிய தமிழை இந்திக்கு இணையான அலுவல் மொழியாகவும் உயர்நீதிமன்றத்தில் வழக்காடு மொழியாகவும் அறிவிக்க வேண்டும். இறுதியாக மருத்துவ மாணவர் சேர்க்கைக்கு கொண்டு வரப்பட்டுள்ள தேசிய தகுதி மற்றும் நுழைவுத் தேர்வு நீட் முறையை தமிழ்நாடு அரசு தொடர்ந்து எதிர்த்து வருகிறது.
Prime Minister Modi, who was visiting Tamil Nadu for the first time since DMK came to power, responded by hailing Tamil culture and language.
The Tamil language is eternal and the Tamil culture is global. From Chennai to Canada, from Madurai to Malaysia, from Namakkal to New York, from Salem to South Africa, the occasion of Pongal and Puthandu are marked with great fervor.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's comment on imposition of Hindi did not go down well with the BJP. Tamil Nadu BJP Chief K. Annamalai took to Twitter to accuse Stalin of doing petty politics. Annamalai said Prime Minister Modi has expressed his affection for the Tamil language, literature and culture on multiple occasions. He described Stalin's conduct as appalling. With Stalin speaking up against any imposition of Hindi and demanding that Tamil be considered at par with Hindi, the language wars have escalated to a new level. Bureau Report, India Today.
I quickly want to cut across to Chennai and bring in India Today's Akshaya Nath for more on the story. Akshaya, 11 projects worth 31,000 crore were to be inaugurated. The Prime Minister was there for a big function. What was the provocation for bringing in this language war and saying don't impose Hindi, give Tamil importance too?
Well, Gaurav, we need to remember that in the state of Tamil Nadu, ever since Amit Shah had made a remark about how Hindi can be replaced as an official language instead of English, there has been a fear about language imposition, the Hindi imposition, and this fear has been there in the people of Tamil Nadu since 1938, and we've seen several protests by the Dravidian parties in the state also. And this time around, we saw that M.K. Stalin, the Chief Minister of the state, taking it as an opportunity in a dais where Prime Minister Narendra Modi was gracing for the first time since the DMK government came to power, and took this opportunity to talk about the demands that the state has, the concern that the people of the state have, which also included not just the language issue, but also about the GST matter. He also spoke about the anti-meat bill and the Kachativa Island issue, which is of grave concern for the fishermen of Tamil Nadu. What we're seeing is when the BJP in the state of Tamil Nadu has criticized M.K. Stalin for his conduct and said that it's very very appalling. We're seeing that most of the other opposition parties and also the coalition parties of the DMK going on to appreciate the kind of statement that he made. They were making a point there that he was not overly critical about the centre or the centre scheme, but only kept forward the demands that are there for the state. So as a chief minister, it was his responsibility to do it, is what most of the people, including the DMK and his ally parties, have justified M.K. Stalin. And meanwhile, we also saw several criticism against Annamalai also coming in, with the CPM leader like Balakrishnan going on to say that why didn't Annamalai raise these issues, and as the chief minister of the state, while M.K. Stalin made these points, it had to be appreciated and not condemned by the BJP. So we're seeing that there is a war of words that has erupted among the political parties with regard to this issue, and we're seeing that M.K. Stalin's gesture has been well received, and it also needs to be pointed out, Gaurav, that during the entire program, the cordial behavior between the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister, it also needs to be specially mentioned. We saw a very friendly gesture there, both of them exchanging smiles, and even at one point we saw Prime Minister holding M.K. Stalin's hand and asking him to be a part of the distribution of house keys, which was given to certain families as part of the inauguration ceremony. So as a whole, it was seen as a grand event, and even Prime Minister Narendra Modi has tweeted out thanking the people of Tamil Nadu for the grand reception that he got, Gaurav.
Okay. You know, when the Prime Minister spoke of Tamil language being eternal and the Tamil culture being global, from New York to Canada, from Malaysia, to South Africa, widespread across the world, there was a round of applause in the auditorium. But overall, what has the response been?
Well, Gaurav, it was a very electrifying event, to be frank, and also it needs to be really mentioned that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had taken special effort to mention about Tamil language and the importance that the centre is giving to this language. Right from the beginning of his speech, he mentioned about Bharadiyar, a very important poet of Tamil culture, and he even quoted a poem of Bharadiyar, and even said that, apart from Tamil being an eternal language, the culture of Tamil is also global, and went on to compare how globally Tamil festivals are celebrated. He also mentioned about how there have been efforts taken by the central government to promote Tamil in different parts. In fact, even in Varanasi, the home constituency of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he said that Banaras Hindu University has a department for Tamil that is being dedicated as well. So, as a whole, it seemed like, an olive branch being extended to the state government by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, trying to make it very clear that there is no language war per se, and that Tamil is equally important for them as Hindi is. So, at least from the central government and the head of this government, that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, efforts were seen very clearly to indicate and address the concern of the Chief Minister as far as the language debate is concerned, Gaurav.
Okay. Kamal Haasan, of course, has also waded into this controversy, and we'll get you that story in just a moment. Akshaya, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. Some time back, my colleague Akshaya Nath spoke to the Tamil Nadu BJP chief Annamalai on this language war and the BJP's reaction to what M.K. Stalin had said. Let's listen in.
And joining us on this broadcast live here on India Today is the Tamil Nadu BJP chief Annamalai. Annamalai, I know you have a very busy schedule, but thank you for joining us here on India Today. You're on your way as we speak to Kadalur. But I wanted your reaction on what happened yesterday when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Chennai and at that government event where Chief Minister M.K. Stalin listed out a number of demands for the state.
Madam, yesterday was a historic day for Honorable Prime Minister's visit to Tamil Nadu. The historic reception that he got, where people were all around him in the street, everywhere, wherever he was going. It only showed the kind of popular leader or Honorable Prime Minister is in Tamil Nadu. Now, coming to the function, the stage function where the Honorable Prime Minister was sharing the stage with the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Sri M.K. Stalin. And we all know after coming to power, DMK government over the last 1 year, how they behaved. And if I can give you the crux of what the CM spoke, it's the same old story, maybe the old wine in a new bottle, and trying to hide a lot of facts, misrepresenting facts, trying to tell a lot of lies in front of the Honorable Prime Minister. So I will give you a clear picture of what he spoke. He started with the word called Ondri Arasu in front of the Prime Minister. So this is a small technical Tamil word.
Yeah.
And normally we all call the central government. We all call the government at the center, the central government. So the DMK calls that as the union government. meaning the government is formed by a union of states. In fact, if you look at the Karunanidhi era when you were the chief minister, or even the DMK manifesto for 2021, the word they have used is Madhya Arasu, meaning a central government. That is the DMK's manifesto. After coming to power right from day one, the chief minister uses a word called Ondriya Arasu, because he believes that is a way he can do politics in Tamil Nadu. He was repeatedly using the word, for which a large section of the audience inside were expressing the displeasure when the CM was speaking. Second, the crux of CM's speech is on 3 points. One, he wanted the Kachativa island to be retrieved and brought back. He has forgotten that the island was given to Sri Lanka by his own father, to M.K. Karunanidhi and Madam Indira Gandhi when she was the Prime Minister. Modi ji, in his speech, he has clearly referred what he is doing for Sri Lanka, especially for the Sri Lankan Tamils in this crisis, the kind of money India is pouring in. Kachativa is a problem that we are well within our right to resolve it. If the government of India will resolve it, it's only the BJP as a party, only we have the moral right to do whatever Kachativa has got to do with Tamil Nadu. DMK as a party not use the word Kachativu because they have gifted this island to Sri Lanka. The state has made a fool of himself for mentioning this. She was talking about the central government.
Let me also mention what the DMK has said in response, Annamalai. They're saying that the centre doesn't listen to us. And that's why we had to use this platform to put forth our demands, to put forth our requests to Prime Minister Modi.
Okay, because when I speak about the second issue, probably that will answer your question also, madam. Now, in the stage, the CM was mentioning about the fact the central government has to give money to Tamil Nadu and the central government has to give more to Tamil Nadu. This was the crux of his second point in the speech. We all have to understand as we speak now, the GST Council is a shining example of India's federalism. A council of states, all states are inside represented. We make our own decision on a consensus-based model. And the central government, based on the GST Council's deliberation, it pays money to each state. The chief minister has forgotten this completely. He has forgotten the fact that our finance minister sits in the GST Council, agrees to all the deadlines and timelines, including the compensation clause. Tamil Nadu has taken the second compensation clause. He has forgotten everything where the Tamil Nadu finance minister is a party to the deliberation. The central government has got nothing to do with GST Council deliberation. Yesterday, he has made a political point that the Tamil Nadu government should get more from the centre. Tamil Nadu government is getting delayed payment from the centre. Also, the chief minister has conveniently forgotten Tamil Nadu state government has to pay 25,979 crore to the central government under various heads. This he has conveniently forgotten and is demanding that the 16,000 crore, in his own words, that the central government has to pay to Tamil Nadu. This is very unfortunate. He has used that platform to use it like a political function, like how a DMK leader speaks in front of the DMK platform. Now, coming to the question that you asked, ma'am, is it very logical what DMK is telling? The Prime Minister meets them. There is a process. The ministers keep meeting the finance minister. There is a process, the way in which government runs. But just to make a stage to give a political speech, does it really bring glory to the Tamil people or to bring glory to the chief minister? Yesterday, as I mentioned yesterday evening also after the function, the CM has brought a lot of shame for Tamil people by his conduct yesterday in the stage. But whereas if you look at the PM speech, it was a statesman speech. He mentioned he likes our Tamil culture, Tamil language. He calls probably this is the oldest language in the world. And every time he comes to the soil, he feels energized. That is the kind of respect he gives to Tamil Nadu.
I want to discuss that issue of the entire language debate. Do you think, Annamalai, that the Prime Minister's message, when he says, you know, Tamil as a language is eternal, culture is global, do you think it finally, you know, kind of hits that narrative which has been spreading in Tamil Nadu of BJP being a Hindi party?
Madam, our Honorable PM, I think this is the third or fourth time he's talking about it. If I can remember correctly, before this also he has mentioned this is the oldest language and he has taken it to UN. Where he didn't even take his mother tongue Gujarati to UN. He has taken Kani and Pungandana to UN. So a whole of Tamil Nadu knows the Prime Minister's love for language. It is the DMK people who got a problem. Because DMK's politics is based on language. That is where they have run the politics for 70 years. They don't want anybody else talking about it. They believe they are the custodians of Tamil language, custodians of Tamil people. So after a Prime Minister, when he shows the genuine affection for Tamil people in his speeches, in his conduct, the way he behaves whenever he is in Tamil Nadu, they are not able to accept it. And yesterday's historic reception, it has also rubbed salt into the CM's wound. The historic reception that the Honorable PM has got, I personally think it has made Tamil Nadu CM Stalin to feel jealous. Because you remember a CM and a PM standing together and people giving a lot of respect to a PM in a state like Tamil Nadu. that has rubbed salt into CM's wound. That was his, I think that was his reason for his emotional outburst.
You think it was an emotional outburst, not something that was a planned speech, that he was jealous of the kind of popularity and fanfare for the Prime Minister?
I think so, ma'am, because the CM was also traveling in the same convoy after receiving Honorable PM in the helipad. The CM was also in the same convoy. I was also in the same convoy. We were together one after the other. So everybody could see the genuine outpouring of emotion, love. And I've never seen Tamil Nadu like this. I've never seen Tamil people responding to any political leader in Tamil Nadu. It was like genuine emotion. CM is also watching it. So he knows in his own soil, which he claims as his birthright to do politics. When Honorable PM coming here and people showing that emotion, I am pretty sure that has made him feel jealous and envious.
So do you think that the entire Tamil issue is being brought up and there's a narrative being set to kind of counter the BJP in Tamil Nadu, that it's all a political issue, not something that's actually sentimental in the state?
Well, the Tamil issue is a dead issue now. It's a dead political issue. DMK is trying to flog the dead horse. The reason is very simple. And BJP, especially Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, you can't even pinprick one issue where is anti-Tamil. Is pro-Tamil than any other leader. Is pro-Tamil than most Tamil political leaders who are inside Tamil Nadu. That is number one. So all of Tamil Nadu knows. And DMK, the Dravidian stock, the Dravidian model of development, the Undri Arasu, all these are probably pointing to the fact they are in their last legs in Tamil Nadu. The current model of politics is probably coming to an end. I am seeing this as a pure emotional outburst of them because they know what worked for 70 years is not going to work for 2024 and 2026.
My final question to you, Annamalai, is what did the Prime Minister's visit really mean for the Bharatiya Janata Party in a state like Tamil Nadu? You know, you've been working from the grassroots to kind of ensure that the party is strengthened. What is the messaging that's sent across to the people of the state and to the cadre of the BJP with the Prime Minister's visit?
It's very special, ma'am, because after I became the state president, that is the first time the Honorable PM is coming, though we had occasions to meet in Delhi. But yesterday, what surprised me was he has met about 40-50 Tamil Nadu leaders. He was telling the names of 90% of the leaders. People he met him 5 years back, 6 years back. He was recalling their contribution. He was giving that patient hearing. This was absolutely amazing for a Karyakarta like me. And second, the genuineness he has got for the Tamil people. Genuineness. People were on the road. People were doing Bharatanatyam. He stopped the car. He came out. He was giving them handshake. And a lot of child, they were crying. And a lot of, I saw young people holding their children in their hand, maybe a 3-year kid, 4-year kid. They were crying, tears in the eyes. I've never seen, I probably as a Tamilian, we are very emotional people, we all know. Yeah. But I've never seen people getting emotional to a leader. Maybe in my generation, the kind of emotions only Narendra Modi ji can invoke. And yesterday, it's a very clear-cut direction Tamil Nadu is showing that 2024 it is going to be BJP's way from Tamil Nadu, no doubt about that.
Okay, and you're saying that that's what's got Chief Minister Stalin jealous. It was an emotional outburst by him when he listed out all of that in his speech and made the demands and then appealed to the Prime Minister. Annamalai, as always, a pleasure speaking to you. Again, thank you for taking the time out and joining us while you're on the road. Thank you.
Thank you.
And superstar Kamal Haasan has also waded into this language controversy. Kamal Haasan called the word of pan-India movies a new coinage. He went on to say that the debate over language is rather silly, rather juvenile in today's day and age.
The superstar and the mega star himself, who doesn't need any introduction. He's right here between us. Can we make some noise, everyone, for Kamal Haasan?
The North versus South battle over Bhasha rages on. Superstar Kamal Haasan is the latest actor to wade into the language war, with statements that drew a massive applause from the crowd at a promotional event for his latest movie. Kamal Haasan did not mince words, calling the language debate silly and juvenile. The actor turned politician asserted that the strength of the country lies in communication with people.
This language issue is silly because it's juvenile to talk about such a diverse country and fight between the strength of our country is that we communicate with each other, yet we are different and we have a single culture.
When the questions turned towards regional versus pan-India movies, Kamal Haasan claimed that the term pan-India was a new coinage. Referring to classics like Mughal-e-Azam and Chennai, Haasan said these movies were enjoyed across languages, sometimes even without dubbing and subtitles.
While you pan for gold, you pan for new words, coinages. So I think this pan-India is always been there. Shantaramji did pan-India films. So we have made pan-India films. What do you call Mughal-e-Azam? It's a pan-India film for me. So it's nothing new. Our country is unique. Unlike America, we are very different. We speak different languages, but we are united. And that's the beauty of this country.
The controversy was triggered by an all-out war between Bollywood star Ajay Devgan and Kannada actor Sudeep that took the internet by storm.
Pan-India, Pan-India. Why isn't Hindi being said as Pan-India?
Ajay Devgan had said Hindi is, was and will always be India's national language in response to Kannada actor Kicha Sudeep's statement that Hindi was never the national language.
Hindi is no more national language. So which is the national language today? Which is the national language?
No national language.
Correct? So what is Pan-India? So because we come from South India, they've started terming us Pan-India, Pan-India, Pan-India. Why isn't Hindi being said as Pan-India?
Music maestro A.R. Rahman had also launched a staunch counter to Home Minister Amit Shah's Hindi is the connecting language comment. South actors like Mahesh Babu and Siddharth also waded into the controversy with their remark on the language war.
I wasn't saying I wasn't keen to go into that phase. I was always saying that I wouldn't want to do Hindi films. I would always want to do Telugu films. This I've been saying it from a long time. So now I'm very happy that what I've been saying is happening. So I always was in the strong opinion that what my strength is to do a Telugu film. And so the emotion, what I know, is a Telugu full emotion. But today, the emotions are so strong, the films have become so big, that eventually, I think the line has blurred, and it's become Indian cinema. So what I thought is becoming true, and I'm very, very happy with it.
The language war is far from being settled. Bureau Report, India Today.